Hey everyone, welcome back. This is In the Sticks with Nix. I'm your host, J. Michael Nix. On this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about my personal motorcycle, a 2023 BMW F850 GS Adventure. I've had this motorcycle for about a year and a half and put around 8,500 miles on it, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy this motorcycle. We're going to be talking a little bit about my experience on the motorcycle and what I used to ride and what I came from, and some of the products that I think are crucial for on and off-road riding to just increase your overall experience and keep you on the motorcycle longer and more comfortable. A little bit of background on me and my motorcycle experience. When I was younger, we had dirt bikes, we had ATVs. I ended up rolling one on top of myself and shattering my collarbone, and that kind of cut motorsports out of my life for a little bit, and I kind of went to just physical activity, sports, and stuff like that. About 10 years ago, I would say 12 years ago, my dad decided to get back into motorcycling, and he tried to convince me and my mom for about two years solid till we both caved. And it was one of the best decisions in my life. It's taught me so much as far as community and being social and just having my own personality. I've definitely grown into my own adult as a 32-year-old adult. I've spent my younger 20s all the way up to where I am now riding motorcycles and being involved in the motorcycle community, and it definitely helped me be the person I am today, and I can't really imagine where I would be without motorcycles. So my first motorcycle 10 years ago was a GSX-R 600. I believe it was a 2008 model, and I rode that for about a year and a half. We took it everywhere. I mean, I learned how to ride on that motorcycle. It was a great experience. And I spent a lot of time with my family, my dad, especially since he was the main one riding at the time. My mom was still kind of skeptical on when she would ride. If it was windy, she wouldn't ride. I mean, she's been all over the world now and in multiple different countries, and she's an amazing rider herself. So my first experience with it, like I said, for about a year and a half was a GSX-R 600. And we came back from a trip, and we had recently had a 2015 GSX-R 750 repaired. We had bought from auction, and I jumped on that thing immediately when we came back, and I fell in love the moment I rode that as a 22-year-old, getting a sport bike that was that nice and that had that much power. After knowing how to ride a little bit, I wasn't very skilled then, but I definitely knew my way around a motorcycle at that time. It was amazing. It was a fantastic bike, and I rode that for about 9 years, and I did everything with that bike. Went to group rides, went to bike nights, I went to track events. I ended up being a amateur circuit racer for about a year and a half on that motorcycle, and it was a great experience. Like I said, I've learned a lot through motorcycles, and I've grown a lot through motorcycles. We took my dad and I took a long trip. We reside in northern Texas, so we decided to go down to MotoGP on our motorcycles one year. We usually go every year, but we decided to take the bikes. And after about a 3.5-hour ride on my GSX-R 750 and 35-mile-an-hour winds, and when we got down there, I looked at him and I told him, I might sell this bike right now and fly back home. I may walk back home. I'm just not riding this motorcycle back home. It was not a great, as I got older, comfort became more of a priority than speed or adrenaline or looking fancy. I wanted to be comfortable and enjoy my rides, regardless of what I was doing or where I was doing it. So after that weekend, I decided on getting something different, and about 2 months later is when I bought this BMW F850, and I can't express how much I love it. It's taken me to a completely different world of motorcycling that I never knew existed, and it's allowed me to just ride more. You know, I can be on this motorcycle for multiple hours, day after day, and never be tired of it, and my back won't hurt, my legs won't hurt, my wrists don't hurt, and it's a fantastic experience to go from something that was uncomfortable but enjoyable to something that is comfortable and enjoyable, and it's changed the way I ride. So here in this next segment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my personal experience with the motorcycle and why I think this motorcycle is fantastic. I can't compare it to many other off-road or adventure, dual sport, enduro, any kind of models like that. All I can really compare it to is a sport bike, and it's not comparable. And I won't be going into a deep dive of the specifications of the motorcycle. There are great videos out right now from multiple different people that can tell you exactly what this bike does, what wheel size, what suspension it runs, what modes are on the motorcycle, how to navigate through the heads-up display. Everything that you need to know is already available. But I'd just like to talk to you a little bit about my personal experience with this bike and why one of the notes we've already talked on is being able to ride more, is to be on the road more day after day, take longer trips. I never really got out of the state of Texas on my GSXR because it wasn't comfortable to take on long trips. I couldn't store anything on it. I have to wear a backpack and it weighed on your shoulders. And with this bike, I can really go anywhere. Right now, we're in Arkansas. My mother, my father, and myself, we're all just hanging out, doing a little bit of on-road riding. And later this week, we're going to do a little off-road riding. And I wouldn't have been able to experience that on a sport bike. The second note of my experience with this motorcycle is the BMW quality. Coming from a Suzuki, which was great, I loved it. It was a fantastic motorcycle. I did so much with it. I was one with that bike. It didn't have technology, no ABS, no traction control. It was just me and a motor and the bike, and it was a great experience on learning how to ride a motorcycle. I mean, now you upgrade to a BMW, a 2023 BMW with all the technology and all the ABS, the fancy stuff, the ride modes. It's luxurious, and that's the best way I can explain to you. I feel fancy riding this motorcycle, and it is a fancy motorcycle. Along with the quality of BMW, you have the operation that just gives you so much confidence. The clutch is so smooth and allows you to really feel like you're in control of what's going on with the motorcycle. It is a 520, 530 pound motorcycle. It is relatively top heavy due to the Adventure model being a large tank, and I have the crash rails. But the controllability and the smoothness of the clutch just gives me so much confidence on and off-road. Coming from a GS family, it was kind of hard for me not to pick a GS. My mom has a 2020 F850 GS, and my dad has a 2018 R1200 GSA. So I rode both of those motorcycles while trying to determine on which motorcycle I wanted. So it was really kind of unfair for all other brands. Triumph was a big one I was also looking at, but the reason I did not go with Triumph was because they don't have very many maintenance locations around the US. I mean, we have one, I think, within 200 miles of me and my current residence. Well, BMW was an obvious choice for me. I do love Suzuki, and the V-Strom was definitely a big eye-catcher for me when I was going to look at adventure bikes, but their heads-up display and their technology was a little bit outdated for me, or a little bit not as fancy, I guess you could say. This just has everything you could ask for. But overall, my experience with the motorcycle has been overwhelmingly positive. I've told my parents on multiple occasions that after I get done with this motorcycle, after I put too many miles on it, or I get to a point where I don't want to ride this particular motorcycle anymore, that I will be buying another 850 GSA, probably the same year model. I love this motorcycle, and I can't express that enough. Now that we've talked a little bit about me and my personal experiences, let's talk a little bit about the bike and some accessories that I think are key upgrades for on and off-road riding. The first accessory add-on I would like to touch on is protection. Protection from rocks, protection from bugs, protection from anything that might be coming at you from somebody that's riding in front of you on or off-road. I would highly suggest getting a headlight guard of some sorts. I have two different headlight guards. I have a graded one, and it clips on to the outside of my hard acrylic one. These headlights on this particular BMW are upwards of $1,500. So protecting these things is very crucial in my opinion. You also want to get a radiator guard and potentially some lower light guards if you have them installed. The second accessory add-on I would like to touch on is going to be a folding gear shift lever. You can also get a folding brake lever. I currently do not have one. I'm waiting for my current one to break, and then I will replace it with a folding one. But this is going to be very crucial for your off-road riding. A lot of you know who off-road know that putting your motorcycle on the ground is going to happen, and it's something that you just have to be okay with. So preparing your motorcycle to be on the ground and to not break, I think, is very crucial. Also, having tools to make repairs on your motorcycle while you're out on the trails is also is crucial. The handguards that come stock on most motorcycles, whether you get the Adventure, Enduro, whatever package you get, are going to be plastic. And sometimes they're not even attached at the outside of the handlebar. So I highly suggest getting an upgraded set of handguards for any kind of Enduro style motorcycle. These ones have a rigid bracket that attaches to the outside of the handlebar, and then another bracket gets installed onto the handlebar, which attaches to the front part of the bark buster. Very solid. I wouldn't mind putting my bike directly down on these bark busters. I wouldn't mind dropping it, but I would be happy to set it down directly on these bark busters and be confident that they will not break and nothing will be damaged on my motorcycle. And once again, none of these things have to be very expensive. My mom's almost set up her entire 750 off of Amazon. Her crash rails and everything, she got off Amazon. So you don't have to buy the big buck stuff. But if you want to, they're quality stuff. Like I'm a really big fan of Wunderlich. Wunderlich makes a fantastic product. Most of my rails are Wunderlich. Most of my bags are Wunderlich. So as far as motorcycle accessories, I love their quality and their packaging, and they just attend to you very well. Motorcycle luggage, I'm finding myself to really enjoy Lone Rider. The last piece I want to talk about here will completely change the way you ride a motorcycle. Whether you're on-road or off-road, this is something that I highly suggest getting the day that you buy your motorcycle. BMW makes a fantastic motorcycle. Triumph makes a fantastic motorcycle. Ducati also makes fantastic motorcycles. These are fantastic motorcycle companies out here. What they do not make: seats. They have good seats installed on their bikes, and they get them from reputable companies. But they're not the best. Go out there and find yourself a seat manufacturer that just makes seats for motorcycles, and you will have a completely changed experience on your bike. This thing's allowed me to go from 2 to 3 hours from feeling uncomfortable to 8 hours day after day without feeling uncomfortable. It's just such a wide platform, and the way that it's allowed me to stay in the saddle and continue to enjoy my motorcycle has changed the way that I enjoy my motorcycle. This is my top tier upgrade, and I would highly suggest anybody getting one. I currently run a Sargent heated front. Getting the heated is also fantastic. Not a necessity, but get yourself an upgraded seat, and you will find that you will be able to ride your motorcycle more comfortably, more enjoyably for longer than you ever have. Well guys, thanks for stopping in and listening to me talk about my personal motorcycle and my experiences with it. This has been In the Sticks with Nix. I'm J. Michael Nix. Be sure to stop in. We make all sorts of motorcycle videos on unboxings, ridings, installation, product reviews, whatever you guys want to see on motorcycles, we'll be discussing on this channel. So be sure to come see us again. Stay safe out there.